This is Dave Wirt with your Ag Market News Report with the week ending December 7th. This week in Pennsylvania we had 3,801 head of cattle compared to 3,448 last week and 5,942 a year ago. Compared to last week's market, slaughter steers sold steady, Holsteins sold steady to $1 lower, and heifers sold $1 to $2 lower. Slaughter cows sold steady to $1 higher, and bulls were $1 to $2 lower. Steers high choice and prime were $126.75 to $129.75. Choice were running $120.50 to $125. Selects were $113.75 to $119.50. Holstein steers high choice and prime were $106.75 to $110.50. Choice were $103.25 to $106.25, and selects are $94 to $97.50. Heifers high choice and prime were $121.50 to $124.75. Choice were $116.50 to $120.25. Selects were $103 to $106. Cows breakers were $69 to $72.75. Boners were $66.75 to $70.50. And lean cows this week were $61.50 to $65.75. In the feeder cattle market, steers medium large running 130 to 500 pounds were running about 130 to 143. 5 to 700 pounds were 120 to 142.50. Heifers in the same weight range were running about 122 to 135 for number ones, and 5 to 700 pounds are 115 to 127. And bulls this week, 3 to 500 pounders, number ones are 122.50 to 139. 5 to 700 pounds are 118 to 130. There was no major feeder cattle sales this week, so numbers really didn't change that much. This week in calves, there was 3,059 compared to 3,072 last week and 3,186 a year ago. Compared to last week, Holstein bull calves sold mostly steady. Heifers were steady to $5 lower. Number one Holstein bull calves, 95 to 120 pounds, was 101.25 to 112. Lighter calves this week were 85 to 103.50. Number two's 95 to 120 pounds were 88 to 102. 80 to 90 pounders were 74.50 to 84. Number threes were running 59.50 to about $80. Number one Holstein heifers, 84 to 105 pounds, were 115 to 136. Number twos were running about 68.50 to about $1. Hogs this week, there was 1,268 compared to 949 last week and 1,712 a year ago. Compared to last week, barrels and gilts were steady to $2 higher, and sows were about $1 to $2 higher. Barrels and gilts 49 to 54% lean were 63 to 65. 5 to 7 or 45 to 49% were 60.50 to 62.50. Sows 3 to 500 pounds were 54 to 57, and 5 to 700 pounds were 59 to 62. Graded feeder pigs this week, there was 442 with nothing available for last week and 607 a year ago. This week, US 1s and 2s 15 to 20 pounders were 197. 25 to 30 pounders were 145. 30 to 35 pounders were about 130 to 140. 40 to 50 pounders were 98 to 112. 50 to 60 pounders were around 80 cents. And 60 to 80 pounders were around 50 to 60 cents. Number twos, 20 to 25 pounders were 165 to 185. 25 to 30 pounders about 137 to 156. Sheep and lambs this week, there was 1,801 compared to 2,295 last week and 2,162 a year ago. Compared to last week, lambs were about $10 to $20 higher, and sheep were about $5 to $10 higher. Choice lambs, 40 to 60 pounders, were running about 160 to 175. 60 to 80 pounders were 140 to 160, and 80 to 110 pounders were 115 to 130. Good ewes, 110 to 120 pounders, were about 78 to 90s. Utilities were running about 75 to 80. Goats, there were 1,628 compared to 2,052 last week and 2,077 a year ago. Compared to last week, kids were about $5 to $10 a head higher. Nannies and billies were about $10 to $20 a head higher. Goats are sold by the head with weights estimated. Selection one kids, 40 to 60 pounders, were $98 to $126. 60 to 80 pounders were $127 to $140. 80 to 100 pounders were $124 to $142. Selection twos, 40 to 60 pounders were $82 to $120. 60 to 80 pounders were $90 to $128. And selection threes, 40 to 60 pounders were running about $66 to $70. Selection one nannies, 80 to 130 pounders were $132 to $158. 130 to 200 pounders were $140 to $150. Selection twos, 80 to 130 pounders were $126 to $128. Selection one billies, 100 to 150 pounders were $182 to $242. 150 to 250 pounders were $220 to $255. Selection twos, 100 to 150 pounders were $135 to $180. Selection one weathers, 90 to 125 pounds was $190 to $225. This is Dave Wood for Ag Market News. Have a good week.